What's going on, my friends? I hope y'all are well. It's been a little while since I've been on. I've just been crazy busy with a lot of music. I'm been getting a lot of music done and some editing stuff I've been doing for a publisher as well. It's long to a short story, not relevant to what I'm going to be talking about here today. It's been a while since I've been on talk. I know there was a lot of things that I want to talk about this year. If I can get the time to do it, I'd love to get on and do that. I really would. Whether it be just music in general or about music licensing. And if I happen to be in the camera and you happen to see something weird about my mouth, I chipped my tooth the other day. I'm getting it fixed this week. It's really bugging me because it's like, God, it's embarrassing, but oh well, it is what it is. It happens to us all, it does. So, got a lovely trip to the dentist I have to make. But anyway, also trying to test out my camera. The cinematic mode on these new iPhones is supposed to be really cool, and trying to do that with a new tripod. This is the one I've got. It's kind of a cool tripod, kind of not really a gimbal, but something I can carry on, because these new iPhone 14 Pros have stabilization, which is pretty cool. I mean, if you're walking, it used to be, like these new other GoPros, you couldn't even watch the video. It was just bouncing around so bad. So be it that it may. But anyway, I hope you guys are well and getting a lot of music done and getting this. I mean, I've said it a million times before. I'll say it again. The music licensing business it's a long game. You got to put the time into doing it. And it seems to be the consensus. It really does. So, but I wanted to get on and talk about something. I saw a video today. A lot of times I'll get on and talk about videos I saw, kind of get my take on it. I've talked about this before, but I never really went into it that much. And it kind of reiterates what I have talked about in the past about using loops and samples. I know it's kind of a sore subject with some people. Some people may argue, there's a little debate going like, well, you can use loops and samples, I mean, that's all lie. You can use them. Well, if you understand my point here today, you don't have to argue by saying whether you can or can't use loops or samples. It's how you use them is what's key here. How you use them can get you in a lot of trouble, or it can benefit you greatly. And I get it, in the hip hop world, sampling is common, but most of the time you will notice that they're making it their own. That's the key. You take that loop or you take that sample and you make it your own. Not just dropping it in, and percussion is one thing that unless you used a whole Led Zeppelin drum track and put your own music over it and called it all yours, and it was obvious. If it were something like an obvious beat and someone called you out on it, I mean, maybe. But you can't reinvent the wheel with percussion. That's not the issue. The whole issue, I've said before, and many others have said before, is you have to worry about the top line melodies, the chord progressions, the things that are noticeable, the things that will, fingerprint technology will pick up on. These trackers will, like Shazam and all these other bits of technology will pick up on, and you may get pegged for it, you may not. But if you're obviously using these loops, just remember one thing: 200,000 other people are doing the same thing. And I'll give you the best example. All you got to do is go on to Shazam, pick up maybe Spotify, or like one popular genre that does this bad is lo-fi music. I hate to say that. I don't want to throw lo-fi under the bus, but a lot of these lo-fi music stuff, if you listen to them and you Shazam them, other artists are going to come up in Spotify, and maybe that artist. If you do it on YouTube, or if you, better yet, go to Splice or Loopmasters or some of these sites, and you get some of these guitar loops that you hear in these lo-fi music tracks that are on Spotify. You get some of those chill lo-fi guitar loops, Shazam it, and about 1 million artists will come up. They're using those guitar loops. It happens all the time, folks. It really does. That's what will get you in trouble. It really will. But yet people still do it. And what made me get on is the channel Venus Theory today, I think it was today, hang on one second. He released this video. Sorry about this, guys. I got my eyes off the screen here. He released this video either the last couple of days. I think it was today. Cameron from Venus Theory did an amazing video today, and he's one of the channels I always talk about, you know, follow these guys. He's a sound designer, you know, and he's done loops and people have used them. He goes, I don't care whether they just used it or they made it their own, but some people do care. And who cares is like one guy out there that released a song claiming it was his track, puts a copyright infringement saying, hey, that was my track and it should be paid to me. Well, the truth is that neither one of them are going to get paid. That track is going to get, until they can figure out who really owns it, will be filed away and no one will get paid for it. But if they do find out you got it from a sample library or some sample loops in construction kits packs, nobody's going to get paid for it because it wasn't original material. And the verbiage in that states when you use these loops, you can't resell the loops, but you can use them. They're royalty free. However, you may run into problems on that deal. And he just did a great job describing some artists, and you should go watch that video. The title of that video is There's a Problem Using Samples. It's one of his newest videos, and the channel's called Venus Theory. This guy is an amazing talent. He has got the most amazing radio and TV voice I think I've heard on YouTube yet, and there's a lot of good ones out there. He could just kill it doing voiceovers. He really, I don't know why he doesn't do it. Maybe he does, he just doesn't talk about it. But he does a lot of other things. He's really talented. You know, I talk about John Mayer. He's talked about this. Great talent, great guy. Dave Croft. Dave Croft goes into, you know, on the hip hop world, talking about sampling. He uses, you know, Serato sample. He does it for a lot of things, not just hip hop stuff. He does some hip hop stuff for sports things, but he touches on it, and he may have done a video going in detail about how he uses Serato sample, and he loves it. Be it that there's a lot of sample players out there these days, pick the one that works for you and go with it, you know, but use them wisely. You know, they're there for chopping up a loop or a sample and using it on your own. And I'll tell you, the best channel to watch if you really want to learn about taking one sample and turning it to a whole new song is follow Andrew Huang. I think, I swear to this day I mispronounced his name, but you know Andrew Huang. If you type Andrew, it's like H-A-U-N-G or H-U-A-N-G. I should really post it on the screen here is what I should do, but I'm one of those turn the camera on and go kind of guys. So, but listen, if you've been watching YouTube enough or getting tutorials about music, you've seen Andrew's videos. He's a musical genius. He's incredible. He does these series called One Sample, 4 Composers. And sometimes 3 or 4 or 5, however many he has at the time. And it's amazing to sit there and watch these guys take one sample and just create their own track with it. And when you're listening to it, you forget about the original sample. And a lot of times you'll take it's not just like a 2-bar loop or 4. Sometimes it's 8 to 16 bar loop of a track, and it has several different elements that let you cut it out. And the fact that these guys can make percussion out of it, make bass out of it, it's amazing what you can do with sounds. I mean, you go spend a lot of money on drum samples. Think about how you can make your own drum samples with what you love to do. It's a lot of stuff you hear that you think it was actually drums, and they were created from other sounds. It's amazing talent. It's amazing what you can do with sound today. We have that at our fingertips. We really do. So I think that we just need to have, some grace and kind of understand that we need to accept, excuse me. I sneezed on YouTube. Damn. Sorry about that. Whoo, it hit me. Gee, that doesn't happen every day. Anyway, as I was saying, we need to have some grace and some acceptance that, you know, it's kind of a norm now that samples are used. And I'll tell you, I've seen stuff with loops and samples used on all different levels. I've seen singer and songwriters do them. I've seen musicians playing real instruments. And one of the best forms of technology out there is Arcade from Output. Arcade is amazing. I mean, you can take Arcade and it can really help launch inspiration for a track. I've seen people you get on YouTube, you can watch these guys using an arcade. They will take a loop or some stuff and create a track around it. And most of the time, they don't even use the original loop. It's launched them some inspiration to create that track. It goes back to saying, you can't reinvent the wheel, but there is something that you can bring out of that. We all can take the same progression and we can make different things out of it. It's all in the rhythm and your vibrato and how you want to go by doing it. I get it, a 1-4-5 progression is a 1-4-5 progression, but it's all in how you use it. You just can't blatantly copy it. You just can't do that. So that's one of the best examples I've seen. And if you're one that is totally against it, you want to maybe embrace it a little bit, because I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say here that I haven't used loops or samples, but I have made them my own. I've cut them up and made a different progression out of them, and I've changed the key, or I maybe changed the BPM because it was for a lot slower track. Either reversed them and did a lot of different things with, blended them with other things that really turned it into something different. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay to do that. You just have to kind of learn how to do it. And there's amazing tutorials out on YouTube that people can show you how to do it. I'm not even about to attempt to show you, because I definitely wouldn't be the best at doing it. And I've learned from people that are fantastic. Off the top of my head, I couldn't tell you channels except the ones that I just told you about, the ones I follow. And those were just a few of a lot of channels that I follow. Off the top of my head, I could sit here and list a bunch of them. But, there's a lot of good channels out there. But anyway, just think before you use loops and samples, because it'll get you in a lot of trouble. It really will. You can't just take these out of packs, drop them in, put some percussion on it, and say, hey, that's my new track. How you like my new music, my new album? And I hate to tell you, it's not your new album. It's not even yours. You just put different drums to it and put a different groove on it and tried to call it your own. It doesn't work that way. It really doesn't, my friends. And that's just where I stand on it. Don't shut it out completely, because it can be very creative. I use loops for percussion all the time. I guess I could essentially say that I use samples all the time, but I create my own percussions with them. When you're using sound libraries, I use a buku of them with tension music I did, with all these VSTs that are all these instruments. All these synthesizers that are out there. They're sound libraries, and you're bringing them together, creating your own music with them. I'm not going to lie, I've heard stuff on TV, they're like, is that my music? I'm like, man, they use the same patch. They use Omnisphere, We've all been there on that deal. It's like, was that my track? It's going to happen, If you're using Omnisphere, chances are 200,000 other people are using Omnisphere too. The weird thing is that they're all using it in their own way. You just hear that sound, and it has a different progression, or something's blended differently with it, And hopefully it won't become in time too much of a problem for a lot of these fingerprint bits of fingerprint technology that are picking up, like TuneSat and all this jazz. Because TuneSat isn't perfect. TuneSat, I can guarantee you TuneSat is not perfect, because I've had numerous listings of, you got placed here and I played the audio and it wasn't me. The show was different, So it's not a perfect technology at this point. Now, that's not to say it isn't going to get better, because it will get better. It really will. But anyway, I wanted to touch on that. Go watch that video. I think the whole purpose is I spent 13 minutes telling you to go watch Cameron's video, Venus Theory, but you should watch it. You really should. And giving you my take on this, Don't just use this stuff to use it. Make it your own. That's the whole point of this thing. Watch that video. It's really good stuff. That guy does a great job all the way around anyway, He puts the time into his videos, whereas I put all the time into my music and don't really have the time to be putting in a lot of video editing. But, if I do more of this, I think in time, maybe I should sit down and maybe do that. But there's nothing wrong with just turning on the camera and talking, You couldn't get any more real than that, an unedited rant about whatever you're talking about. So anyway, hopefully my video quality is getting better. The cinematic setting on these iPhones is absolutely amazing on these new ones. And there's some settings that I've just realized about uploading videos on YouTube about the quality that you can upload. Granted, it'll take a lot longer to upload, but they said that helps with the quality as well. So anyway, I hope you're well, and I'm going to try to this year get on and talk more, but I am still around. I'm doing well, and I hope that you guys are well too. Keep plugging that music. That's all we can do. It's what we're here for. Make it happen. Make it happen. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Be cool. Bye.